guys that can win at any point of the game. Like fourth
Mhm.
quarter, they're just as deadly. So that's a team that, although they can't guard anybody, I mean, they couldn't guard me or you, Sean, out there on the perimeter. As of late, you've been seeing it. The Brooklyn Nets are horrible.
Mhm.
Last year, going into the postseason, they were one of the best teams defensively. So like you just
Yeah.
don't know if they could turn it on or not. If I am I confident in them? No.
What is going on? I want to welcome you from Half Court for today, Tuesday, April 12th. I, of course, am your host, Sean Murphy, alongside my guy, Jeff Iaffanati.
What it
Jeff, what's going on,
do,
brother? How you doing?
man? I'm doing good. Ready to talk some playing, baby.
Oh, dude,
Some playing.
it is no longer the regular season. NBA 75, the regular season is no more. Our Pistons are done, but there's still going to be a lot to talk about. Believe me, be sure to tune in later in the week for that. But for now, Jeff, there's a lot to talk about because we have the NBA play-in tournament happening
Yes.
over the next course of this few days, which, by the way, Jeff, I think this might be the best thing the NBA's invented over the last decade. The play-in tournament has been a great thing for the NBA, has it
Mhm.
not?
No, absolutely. When they first announced it, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little hesitant on it because I
Yeah,
hate change. I'm one of those guys that
right.
anything like even the simplest of stuff. I'm like, why? But the play-in tournament actually so far has been great. I liked it even last year with the Warriors making the play-in and how that turned out. I just like it. It gives teams a chance. Whatever happens, injuries, whatever happens throughout the regular season, especially now, like players resting. They still have a chance, and the
Yeah,
7 and 8 seeds, it just incentivizes teams. It incentivizes the regular season because now you have to win. You got to get a higher seed. If you don't, you're not even safe. You could lose to, eventually a ninth or a 10th seed. So
yeah,
you got to win. And I
yeah.
love it. Makes the
A
stakes higher, man.
absolutely. It makes more teams try as well. It
Yeah.
makes teams
Yeah.
try to stay in it for longer, which is really at the end of the day what it's all about. And with that, Jeff, there's the landscape for the play-in games have been interesting every year because every single season there's been teams there that we would not expect to be in a play-in tournament environment. Specifically, this season we have I would argue the most surprising playing game is the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Brooklyn Nets. Two teams that were in the top 3 of the Eastern Conference for a good part of the season, both got plagued by injury and now have to face each other in the 7th versus 8th place game. Jeff, why will Brooklyn win this one by 30?
Well, we talked about this last time too. Like Brooklyn is the only team, especially their seventh seed. They're gonna have to fight and obviously get into the playoffs. But two guys that can win at any point of the game, like fourth
Mhm.
quarter, they're just as deadly. So that's a team that, although they can't guard anybody, I mean, they couldn't guard me or you, Sean, out there on the perimeter. As of late, you've been seeing it. The Brooklyn Nets are horrible.
Mhm.
Last year, going into the postseason, they were one of the best teams defensively. So like you just
Yeah.
don't know if they could turn it on or not. If I am I confident in them? No, they don't have depth. Kyrie Irving is just starting to play home games, and even then, like he's just getting a rhythm. And same with KD. Like KD scored 55 against the Atlanta Hawks and
Mhm.
still lost. Like that's a problem. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm confident in the Nets. They'll be the Cavaliers. Like the
Yeah.
Cavaliers haven't been the same. They lost Jared Allen, and things started going down from there. Evan Mobley was out with an ankle injury, but before then, they were doing pretty good without Colin Sexton. But it shows
Yeah.
the value of other people down low. Jared Allen, he's very important for them.
Well, Jared
Super
Allen
important.
was such a big piece of what they were doing. I
Yeah.
mean, specifically just everything that he means to them on the interior, on the defensive end. He's all over the court for them. So to not have a guy like that throughout your playoff run is definitely going to be a huge loss for that team. But then you're looking at the Brooklyn Nets, obviously, with Ben Simmons not being out there. It's still Kevin Durant, it's still Kyrie Irving, guys that can go out there and they can get 80 points themselves
Yeah.
just the two of them. And the fact that this is in Brooklyn, I mean, thinking about what this game could have been and where Brooklyn could have been as of a week ago, where they were in the 10th seed, even, now it's hard to envision them losing this game. But the interesting thing, if you're keeping out East, is you look at the other game, and I would argue that these are two teams that should not be in the play-in tournament. Like
Yeah.
all 4 teams in the Eastern Conference this year, I would argue have no place in this tournament because they should be better. Especially, the Atlanta Hawks who
Yeah.
made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and
Hmm.
then the Charlotte Hornets who just continue to live in this play-in tournament area, not really,
I know.
like their players get better, but their team doesn't. Like this I feel like this is just going to be like an offensive firehouse, and defense is going to be non-existent.
No, absolutely. I see a similar result. I mean, I see
Mhm.
the Brooklyn Nets winning, but a high scoring game. It is the playoffs. Like, this is the time where everybody else steps up. And I think
Yep.
that's what I question about the Nets. Like, they just don't have the depth. Like, Blake Griffin doesn't play at all for them, which is odd. I mean, obviously, they have other guys that
Right.
are playing, Patty Mills. Like, there's a lot, and they don't have Joe Harris, who was very important for them last postseason in general. So, we'll
Mhm.
see. And if you're going against even a team like, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're missing something they have an advantage of, and that's size. They're missing Jared Allen. So there's a lot of things happening. The Charlotte Hornets, they're a team that just intrigues me always because they have so many different guys that can just get buckets. Like
Yeah.
you got LaMelo, you got Miles Bridges, PJ Washington. I mean, now you got other guys coming up. So Terry Rozier. So I'm excited. It's going to be a
Yeah.
good playing tournament.
Well, and
A
then
lot
you
of
have
teams
Trey
ready to go
Young,
at it.
who could get 40 points on any given night.
That's the biggest surprise. Like what
Mhm.
they somehow regressed. I get. Well, I guess regular season stays similar, but we'll see. Are they a team that stays hot and goes hot into the postseason like they did last year? I got no idea.
Well, yeah,
I really don't.
dude, it's and the thing is, if you watch both of these teams, if you want to know what the problem is, it's defense.
Yeah,
Straight up. It's not that they're bad defensively, it's that they don't defend. It's
one
it's
side.
terrible. It's lackluster. It's absolute dog. There's just no other way to put it. And so with that, I this game is a toss up to me. However,
Yeah.
if you're asking me who I trust more in this situation, it's Ice Trey, right? I mean, he's gonna put up in this game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I love LaMelo Ball, but again, I
Mhm.
just sometimes I question LaMelo in terms of like, does he have that dog in him? Like he's such
Yeah.
a killer, man. But Trey just has that dog in him. Like like
Mhm.
postseason, man, those dogs they become a lot more valuable. I think Trey Young, even just Trey Young, if they have less talent, I guess in terms of like star power, but they still got a lot of guys. Bogdan, they got Clint Capella down there. Like they got John Collins. So
Well,
I'm excited. I
and
like
so,
them.
and something tells me that they're not going to be super happy that they're finding themselves in this predicament and that they're in this
Oh
situation.
yeah, no,
So, something tells me that they're gonna have something to say about it. And so with that, and with the Charlotte Hornets, they're a team that just, as you said, like even in the play-in last year, that was a team that a lot of people had a lot of high expectations for, and they just got their crap kicked in by the Pacers. So, it's just you don't know what you're getting out of this team on a night to night basis. Atlanta, I expect Trey Young to come out, and then I expect the final playing game. I expect Friday we're gonna get a matchup between Trey Young and the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think we're gonna see a barn burner there. And Jeff, it's hard for me to pick against Atlanta winning 2 straight games here in this play-in, especially if Cleveland doesn't have Jared Allen.
no, I agree with you. I'd probably pick the Atlanta Hawks as well, especially over the Charlotte Hornets. I just feel like you said, it's that ice tray factor. Like I got so much confidence in him as a player, so
Yeah,
I'll probably take the Hawks, and then I'll obviously take the Nets. Like that's just the
yeah.
reality of it.
Well,
And
and
then
then and then
that'll be
but
interesting.
in the event that Cleveland and Atlanta
Yeah,
play
they would have
though,
to face the Hawks. I would take the Hawks again to beat
yeah,
the
same
Cleveland
here.
Cavaliers, the loser of that game. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm trusting Trey Young, man. Ice
yeah,
Trey. I mean, I like Darius Garland, but I just think postseason, like it's just a different animal. Like I
yep,
think
it
Trey
is.
has the experience. The coach Nate McMillan, he just went to the far in the postseason. So I
Mhm.
mean, I think that's a team that's going to show us a lot more come postseason time.
Yeah. Now it's not a great matchup though for Atlanta though. That is the one thing. Like Cleveland, Atlanta would be very difficult. Evan Mobley could cause a lot of fits there.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it's just hard to not envision Trey Young putting like he could put up 90 points between these two games. Like he's gonna go crazy in the playing tournament because there's no chance in hell that I can see him letting this team just not get into the playoff picture at all. But then we have the 2 games out west, which I would say the Western Conference, all things considered, I'm not entirely shocked with how it played out here. I mean, you
Yeah.
have, the 7th, 8th game, you have the LA Clippers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. First of all credit in the world to the Clippers for being in this situation because for the vast majority of the season, for your main offense to run through Reggie Jackson, Luke Kennard, and Marcus Morris, we saw what that did in the Eastern Conference and how that didn't really do great things. But for that in the Western Conference with Ty Lue, for that team to be
Hey,
better than the Lakers all
shout
year
out Ty Lue.
long.
Shout out Ty Lue.
And
He still
now,
has a job. Frank Vogel doesn't.
now Paul George is back. And now You might have Kawhi coming back in the playoffs at some point. I mean, Minnesota, hell of a run.
Yeah,
I think Patrick Beverly wants this one arguably more than any other player would want a game this playoffs.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Jeff, it's the Clippers, right? The Clippers are winning this game. In what world am I picking the Minnesota Timberwolves in a key playoff game
I know.
type atmosphere?
It's
What
tough.
world?
It's tough, and they have so much talent. But again, it's like Neil at the station. He always says like the Timberwolves are going to Timberwolves. Like
Yeah,
whatever school,
man.
insert any school. Purdue's going to Purdue. I feel like Minnesota's going to Minnesota in a way and just lose to the Clippers. Like they're even if they don't have Kawhi or Paul George, like it doesn't change. Aren't they getting Norman Powell back?
Yeah, they might, but Paul George is back. He's playing.
No, Kawhi, excuse me. Getting
Yeah.
Kawhi back, even if they don't, like I still trust in Paul George and Norman Powell, like that, in Reggie
Yeah.
Jackson. That's enough in my Marcus Morris, those guys. So I got trust in them, even though I love Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns,
Mhm.
D'Angelo Russell. You got the whole layout of building
Yeah.
the foundation. I just like you said, Sean. Timberwolves are going to Timberwolves.
Yeah.
I just got a feeling in my heart.
Yeah.
I really
Again,
do.
it's just youth. It's inexperience.
Yeah,
It's what's ultimately gonna come out of that. And then of course there's the San Antonio Spurs at the New Orleans Pelicans. I think this is I'm not gonna lie, the one I'm anticipating the least of all the playing games. I think this is an absolute buns fest. However, I would say it's hard to bet against CJ McCollum. The
Brandon
story
Ingram.
of New Orleans and what they've been with all the circumstances they've been dealing with this season, they have been a lot better than I thought that they would be. I thought they would be tanking and being in the lottery picture. However, they're finding themselves in the play-in tournament in a home game situation. But Jeff, you got CJ McCollum putting those guys over the top, or do you have DeJounte Murray, Greg Popovich, and the San Antonio Spurs bringing it home?
Part of me wants to, never obviously bet on Pop. That's number one. But number two, DeJounte Murray matching up with CJ McCollum. I feel like that's probably the most exciting matchup. Like
Mhm.
CJ, as much as I love him, like he has postseason experience. Remember they went to the Western Conference Finals with the Trailblazers. But again, like I just think in this scenario, as much as coaching is important, something tells me, man, like they got guys over there in New Orleans. Even though they're not
Mhm.
winning games, they got Ingram. They got CJ McCollum. They at least have a good, solid foundation of a couple pieces. They're not winning games this year, but I think especially in the play-in tournament, I don't know, something about the Spurs. They just don't have that star power. Like they don't have that guy that can. I mean, DeJounte Murray is impressive, but can he carry you over the Pelicans? I don't know, Sean. Honestly, I'm probably gonna lean the Pelicans, but this is a tight one. It can go either way. It
Yeah,
really can.
100%. I just think at the end of the day, you got to trust the best player. And the other thing too, I don't think San Antonio necessarily wants to win this game as much. I think the veterans over in New Orleans might have a little bit more to play for. And, just with everything that they have going on, I think they want to just try and really get them as much momentum as possible. But anything can
Right.
happen. Now, obviously, the thing is with that comes what would be the next matchup, which would be more than likely the Pelicans and the Timberwolves. And with that, it's Minnesota, right? I mean, Karl Anthony Towns, it really does feel like even though they might not win that first playing game, it just feels like this is the year for them to hop back into the playoff picture and establish themselves as the 8th seed in the Western Conference. And it seems like they've earned it.
Yeah, no doubt. I
Um,
think if they lose, especially motivated like that,
yeah.
lose to the Clippers, you face the Pelicans. The Pelicans at that point coming off a win, like I don't know. I'd probably lean Minnesota. I mean, I'd agree with you there. I mean, the star
Mhm.
power is important and all that. Youth might play a factor, but Karl Anthony Towns, man, greatest big man ever to shoot the basketball at least. Like
Yep.
I want to see that. So yeah, give me the Timberwolves
Yeah.
in that situation.
And now we could be facing a situation where we have the Los Angeles Clippers playing the Memphis Grizzlies in the first round. We could have Kawhi and Paul George versus Ja Morant round one.
Banger.
We could get, oh my goodness, dude. Like just all the different series, all the different potential, dude. It's insane. We could be getting Boston, Brooklyn round one.
That'd be nuts.
That's where we're heading. But with that, what do you think of the current landscape of the NBA playoffs? Let us know in the comment section down below. And be sure to subscribe here because From Half Court is going to be your home for
Yes,
NBA
sir.
playoff, NBA draft, and NBA lottery content. We want to thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to follow Jeff on Twitter, myself on Twitter as well, but from Half Court as well. And we will get you next time from Half Court. Be sure to subscribe.